In a quiet, peaceful neighborhood, Patrick was known as a kind and generous person. He had a reputation for helping those in need, especially vulnerable teenagers. People in the community trusted him, and he often offered support to young people who seemed to be struggling. Patrick used the internet to make connections, offering promises of love, financial help, and a better life to those who felt lost or abandoned. He knew exactly how to attract attention and gain trust. He told people that he could help them escape their troubles, and many believed him. But behind his friendly and helpful face, Patrick was hiding a terrible secret. He wasn't really trying to help these young people. Instead, he had sinister plans. Patrick was involved in illegal activities, using his charm to lure teenagers into a dangerous trap. His goal was not to offer love or support, but to exploit his victims in ways that were unimaginable. Patrick's main crime was organ trafficking. He was involved in a cruel business where he tricked young women into his home, only to exploit them for their body parts, which he sold for large amounts of money. Over time, his actions grew even worse. He built a secret compound far from the eyes of the public, a place where dozens of women were kept captive. These women were taken there under false pretenses, hoping for a better future, only to find themselves trapped in a nightmare. They were tortured and forced into Patrick's illegal operation, where their lives were treated as nothing more than commodities. Patrick was very careful in choosing his victims. He often targeted young women who were struggling or looking for help. Many of his victims were alone, vulnerable, or in desperate need of money. They thought they were talking to a kind man who wanted to help them, but they had no idea what they were walking into. They were drawn in by his promises of safety and support, but once they entered his home, they found themselves trapped. One day, a young pregnant woman came to Patrick asking for help. She had nowhere to turn and had heard about Patrick's kind offers online. She thought he could offer her a way out of her troubles. Little did she know she was walking straight into one of Patrick's traps. She soon became another victim of his cruel scheme. But what Patrick didn't know was that there was someone who was watching him very closely. This person would soon expose the truth and put an end to his reign of terror. Tina was a smart, young psychology student who had moved to the neighborhood not long before. She had heard of Patrick and the help he was offering to young people, but she wasn't easily fooled. Tina had an instinct for spotting people who weren't being honest, and something about Patrick didn't sit right with her. She wasn't willing to fall for his promises of love and wealth. She had seen too many similar situations where people like Patrick took advantage of those who were vulnerable. Tina's refusal to trust Patrick was an important decision. While others were being pulled into his dangerous trap, Tina kept her distance. She was cautious and paid attention to the small details around her. Over time, she began to notice things that didn't make sense. She heard rumors about Patrick's true intentions, and the more she learned, the more suspicious she became. There was something deeply wrong with Patrick's behavior, and Tina knew she had to do something about it. One day, Tina found a clue that confirmed her worst fears. She discovered evidence that Patrick was running a secret operation, luring young women into his home and then using them for his illegal business. This was no longer a mere suspicion. It was a frightening reality. Tina knew she couldn't ignore what she had found. She had to act quickly before more women were hurt. Tina bravely contacted the police and shared what she had learned. She explained everything she had seen and heard about Patrick's actions, providing the authorities with the information they needed to investigate. Thanks to Tina's courage and quick thinking, the police were able to move fast. They launched a full investigation into Patrick's activities, and soon they uncovered the horrifying truth behind his compound. The police raided Patrick's home and the secret compound where the women were being held captive. The victims were freed from their horrible conditions and brought to safety. Many of them had been suffering for months, even years, not knowing if they would ever escape. Thanks to Tina's actions, they were rescued, and Patrick's dark business came to an end. Patrick and his accomplices were arrested, and taken into custody. They were charged with numerous crimes, including organ trafficking, human trafficking, and murder. The trial was long and difficult, but in the end, justice was served. Patrick was convicted of his crimes and sentenced to a long prison term. His accomplices were also found guilty and were sentenced accordingly. The community, once unaware of the dark secrets hiding behind Patrick's friendly face, was shocked by the truth. People who had trusted him felt betrayed, but they were relieved that the truth had come to light. Thanks to Tina's bravery, many women's lives were saved and Patrick's reign of terror was finally over. Tina's actions were nothing short of heroic. She didn't let herself be fooled by Patrick's lies. Her quick thinking and refusal to be manipulated saved her life and the lives of many others. She put herself at risk to expose the truth, and in doing so, she became a hero. Tina's decision to act and speak out was the key to bringing Patrick to justice. This case showed the power of one person's courage in the face of evil. It also highlighted the importance of being aware of what is happening in your community and standing up when something feels wrong. Thanks to Tina's determination, Patrick's cruelty was stopped, and countless lives were saved. In the end, this story serves as a reminder that justice is possible, and even in the darkest of situations, one person can make a difference. Tina's actions proved that no matter how big or small, we all have the power to fight against injustice and help those in need.